I think it goes global because it touches on exactly why we keep coming back to art. We want it to make us feel something, and it makes us feel all of the emotions. I think part of what makes this cool is with this like live to picture thing is that we are human beings on stage. We are there to have as good of a time as you are. We're there to cry with you, laugh with you, etc. Like that's kind of the beauty of seeing this versus, like turning on a rerun. We are here to have a human experience. Hi, I'm Heidi Joosten, Associate Conductor of Naruto The Symphonic Experience, and you're watching and listening to Two Geeks Talking.
Good morning, afternoon, evening, everyone. Two Geeks Talking is an entertainment industry interview show where we interview the creative people from the comic, film, TV, movie, and video game industries. And of course, I'm your host, Kurt Sasso. Our guest today is Heidi Joosten. She is the secret weapon, one of the secret weapons, I should say, behind some of the biggest live-to-picture concerts in the world. From Barbie at the Hollywood Bowl to Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, with a full orchestra, and now Naruto's epic anime scores in front of thousands of screaming fans. She is not just keeping tempo, she's bringing blockbuster soundtracks to life on stage. And she is just one of two conductors on this amazing Naruto The Symphonic Experience. How does she sync a live orchestra with iconic movements on screen? Let's find out. How are you doing today, Heidi? It's a pleasure having you on the show.
I'm great, thanks. We just arrived in Columbus, Ohio for our show tonight. We're kind of on that rock and roll schedule of a different city every night. We were in Madison, Wisconsin last night, and I'm just so happy to be here and talk to you and just keep bringing this music around, North America.
Yeah, I wish it was closer to Toronto. I know it's going to be in Kitchener coming up later on, I think towards the end of the series, so I may have to pop up that way for sure. I'm curious, what is the percentage of the orchestra that secretly does the Naruto run backstage?
Oh gosh. I don't want to speak on behalf of my orchestra, but I would say at least a third of them have done it at one point on tour. But it's not like we're having races backstage. I think our stage management team would not be happy with the risk of injury if that happened.
For sure. I mean, also, I think the bassist would be a little slow at that.
Yeah, actually, he's rather athletic. So, yeah, he'd probably be winning this race.
Naruto's battle themes use irregular time signatures. Where's the one measure that makes new orchestra members panic?
There's one that's in near the end of Act 2 where we've got this like solid 4 on the floor going, just like really, really solid 1, 2, 3, 4. And then there's a 9/8 bar that's thrown in there, which is 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, right back into it. And so that's the one that's like, okay, here we go, but we're in.
That's awesome. You've done more than just Naruto. You've done Into the Spider-Verse, Barbie, at the Hollywood Bowl, no less, which is an amazing venue for sure. Since you've done all of these amazing venues, looking at the animation to music side of things, how does Naruto's emotional hit points differ from Western scoring?
Oh, that's a great question. In terms of like some of these like films where it's like you start the movie and you go all the way through the end credits, it's all paced according to this like one capture of time. And so for Naruto, the cut of the film or what you're watching on screen encapsulates the first 220 episodes. And so it's telling this narrative, that is trying to like cover so much material, and the music is then cut to back that up. Some of the music we have is directly taken immediately just from the scene itself. Otherwise, it's music that is superimposed onto it to create an entire experience. So whether you've seen the show or you haven't, it all tells its own story. And how this sort of differs from Western scoring in its own element is that we do have traditional Japanese instruments. We have a shamisen, we have a shakuhachi, and it's going to feel like you're being transported back to watching it when it first came out.
Actually, I was going to ask that here because the Naruto score blends these amazing instruments, especially from Western and Eastern cultures here. What specific moment in the tour makes you think this is why it went global?
Ooh, that's a really good question. I mean, it's incredible storytelling, first of all, from just a television show perspective, but the music is incredibly catchy. And it offers a ton of energy that I could see any viewer just latching onto. So in terms of going global, the fight sequence music is awesome.
Yeah.
We have fun with it every single night. And then on top of that, the moments that are really heartbreaking and beautiful, there are some absolutely gut-wrenching piano solos in this that our keyboardist is just crushing night after night after night. And I think it goes global because it touches on exactly why we keep coming back to art. We want it to make us feel something, and it makes us feel all of the emotions: excited, scared, happy. The Orochimaru theme, that's scary music. They did not pull any punches when creating the score for this.
Speaking of emotional pieces, Sadness and Sorrow is obviously a very devastating a theme when it comes to this particular series. And those that haven't heard it, it is completely different watching it on like an animated video versus is in the series. From that perspective, though, as the conductor that you are, do you lean into the tears or fight to stay clinical when that theme comes on?
You say, like, for me on the podium?
Yeah.
I think it depends on the day. For this one, I've been able to tap into remaining stoic, primarily because these anytime you have those like really heart-wrenching, beautiful moments, like we're about to get into a fight scene pretty soon after that, so I got to keep my game face on. But I'm also like no stranger to being emotional if I need to on the podium. When we were doing Avatar: The Last Airbender, the Iroh sequence, we like joked about having a jar that you had to put $5 in if you cried during Iroh for all of us on stage. So I think part of what makes this cool is with this like live to picture thing is that we are human beings on stage. We are there to have as good of a time as you are. We're there to cry with you, laugh with you, etc. Like that's kind of the beauty of seeing this versus, like turning on a rerun. It's human. We are here to have a human experience.
You conducted the Hollywood Bowl, Barbie Hollywood Bowl, I should say, and that crowd must have been massive.
I do want to clarify, I was just the associate conductor for that.
Okay.
Macy Schmidt conducted the performance.
Apologies then.
No, it's okay. I just want to make sure that's clear. Yeah.
But the crowd itself at the Hollywood Bowl, I'm sure, was massive. And it's an incredible theater if those that haven't visited it. But Naruto fans are just as passionate when it comes to obviously this anime and the manga and everything like that. Does that help or terrify the musicians when they get into this new form of music?
That's a really good question. Honestly, we love how excited the crowds are for this. And I want to like really hammer home that like we on stage are also fans. And so for this, I was also one of the co-orchestrators for this to help bring it all to life. And when you have a stage full of world-class musicians who are also invested in the material and invested in getting it right, the feedback loop was really, really helpful of like, I think we should be doing this. And we talk to each other about how to make it so that everybody is having a great experience. So like naturally you get up there and it's like, well, I hope they like it. But at that same time, if the people that have to play it night after night after night are like, yes, this is it, then we feel like we're getting it right. Well, we may never get it perfect, but we're working to get it right. And so as long as we're having fun, as long as the audience is having fun, I consider that like a job well done.
Being that Naruto is your current tour that you're on here, what musical theater trick from your past work have you used in these shows?
Very good question. I think my favorite thing for all of this in terms of especially a conducting style is how can I be the most helpful? So in order for this to work, in order for everything to line up with a screen, like we have a click track that's coming into our ears. And so with all of that, we have an absolutely brilliant engineer at front of house, making sure everything's balanced, making sure everything's working, and everybody's mix is a little bit different. And so the conversation between how do I support you while you're doing all of this and make sure that everything I'm giving you gesture wise is what you need to succeed. That is inherently more of a musical theater trait than per se an orchestral. Both of my parents are conductors. And so I was raised in this culture of like, you are there to be helpful. So how can we be helpful? And I think the other thing is like, a lot of orchestral players, far less in younger generations, but more of older generations, without getting ageist, seem to like sneer a little bit at musical theater as like not being fully artistic, or, you know, the most artful thing you can do. And I disagree with that if you get inside the nuts and bolts of it. But at the end of the day, it's joy. It's meant to provide joy. It's meant to provide an experience and an escapism that makes people feel good. And that is exactly what we're doing, playing the music to an animated series that we're celebrating the 20th anniversary of. And so leaning into the idea that joy for the sake of joy is not a bad thing. That's definitely a musical theater thing.
Love it. Everyone has one person that inspired them on their path to where they are today. Who was that for you?
Ooh, it's definitely my parents. Both of them were so good at their jobs as both leaders of musical ensembles, but also just straddling that line between leader and peer, of gaining the respect from the people that were around them just by being a good person, getting the job done, leading with, you know, kindness, and also having, you know, expectations that we have the capacity to do this well and we're going to do it well, but we're going to lead with kindness and humor. That was totally a gift I did not fully comprehend was being given to me until I was more of an adult and more, you know, in my own capacity. So I lucked out with the parents that I got.
From a professional standpoint, you are a successful conductor, and I can't wait to see what you do in the future. Do you consider yourself personally successful?
Yeah, I would think so. I think in terms of measuring success, somebody asked me recently, like, what's your 5-year plan? What's your 10-year plan? And I said, I want to make music with great people that makes people happy. And by that measure, I'm living my dreams come true right now. So I'm excited to see what the future holds and continue to work to keep doing that.
The reverse of success is failure. How do you deal with your failures?
Therapy. I think there's a lot of discussion around failure in the music scene, and how if we don't learn how to learn from them, be able to like sit and be like, okay, yeah, I did not achieve what I needed to here, or achieve what I set out to, but what's the takeaway? What's the learning experience? And I spent 10 years of my musical career building things, learning things in Chicago. And that was intentional because Chicago is an incredible place to try a lot of different things, learn what you're good at, learn what you need to get better at. But the consequence for failing is you learn a lesson. You're not immediately done with your career. And that was a gift.
The younger generation is looking at yourself as a role model when it comes to maybe getting into the music scene, becoming a conductor, or learning something about the music trade that it is. How can they inspire the generation that follows them when it comes to their creative dreams?
Oh, wow. You got the heavy hitters here.
Oh, yeah.
I in terms of being an inspiration and you know, getting people believing that they can also be artists, I think the key at the end of it is just lead with kindness, work as hard as you humanly can, and continue to surround yourselves with people that make you better at any stage in your life. Like, you can work with your heroes, but your heroes have their people that make them better. They're not necessarily bringing you with. So surround yourself right now with people that are at your level, that make you better. Lead with kindness and be ready to work.
If your life was a musical, what would its title be?
Oh gosh. Pass the cheese curds. I am from Wisconsin,
Oh,
so
yeah. Well, Heidi, I do greatly appreciate this for coming on the show. Where can we find you? How can we support you? And any other social media or websites we can promote you on?
Sure. My Instagram handle is just my name, at Heidi Joosten. I do have a website, just HeidiJoosten.com, and you can find me there.
Well, that ends this episode of Two Geeks Talking. You can, of course, find this interview and 1,200 plus others on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/TGT Media. The podcast you can find at twogeekstalking.podbean.com, or just search Two Geeks Talking, wherever you get your podcast. That's TWO. And as I say every week, everyone has a story to tell. It's up to me to help bring that out. Thanks for listening, watching on Two Geeks Talking.